Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Don't you want to sound rich?
Made about us where we were referred to as blood and guts. Blood and guts. And it was said with such a braggart candor that you would think the person saying it felt that they were bulletproof. But I wonder, before they said it, if they tasted their own words before they spit them out, because the entirety of our business is built on blood and guts. Every man or woman who ever stepped foot in the ring, regardless of race, color, creed, political affiliation, sexual identity, has felt blood and guts and passion.
Welcome to episode 24 of your favorite podcast about all things elite. Welcome to All Things Elite. I am your host, Floyd Johnson, and with me today, after it's been a long time, a long hiatus, it is All Elite Tiffany. Tiffany, how are you doing today? I
am excellent. How are you?
We are both great. Today started off, we were kind of anxious. We didn't know. No one really knew how today was going to go. We're going to jump right into it. But before I jump right into it, I want to start you off by reminding you this episode of All Things Elite is brought to you by Powerslam TV. Powerslam TV is where you get access to over 4,000 hours of content for over 110 of your favorite wrestling brands from countries around the globe right onto your laptop and mobile device. If you use the code Social Suplex, you get this first month free. So definitely check out Powerslam TV. Our big news of the week is how our day started. Last week they announced that tickets to the first television event on TNT in Washington, D.C. went on sale today, Friday, August 2nd at 11 a.m. Me and Tiffany have been talking all week, kind of coordinating how we were going to get our tickets, what we were going for. Of course, we wanted to see the first three rows, get those commemorative chairs. We were super excited about that. Then, yes, I didn't know. And before, I know hindsight's kind of 2020. 14,000 seat arena. Did you think personally that they were going to sell out?
I didn't think it would sell out within the first few hours. That's for sure. I 100% thought that before October 2nd they would sell out. And I'm the first to say, never underestimate Cody, underestimate AEW. And I wasn't underestimating. I was just trying to be realistic because I felt that maybe with TV starting weekly, that sense of urgency wouldn't be as huge for people to just swarm the site and get tickets immediately because they know that they're going to start touring. And once again, even they blew my mind because here we are with a sold-out Capital One Arena. after just a few hours of tickets going on sale, and absolute chaos in the Ticketmaster website trying to get tickets, which just speaks volumes of the amount of people who were trying. So it's insane.
So my friend Corey asked me how many tickets I thought they were going to sell. I said they'd probably sell 8 to 10,000 a day, but I don't think they're going to sell out. And I was like, I put out all the reasons. I'm like, it's a Wednesday, it's not a holiday, it's Washington D.C. I don't know how many people are going to travel there. I had all these things, but I was like, if they do 8,000 a day, I thought that was a good day. I was like, with All Out happening, that'll probably, push to get the rest of the tickets sold. I honestly didn't even think they would sell out. And that was just me trying reasonable, because I'll tell anyone I'm a fanboy, and I think Cody and the Bucks, and they can do anything. I truly do. So I was like, and even when I told them, I said, I hope I'm wrong. So we get up. I work all night, and we're kind of chatting. I take a little nap, and we get up, and I'm like in the queue, and I'm really, really excited. An hour and a half, and let me tell you, it's an hour and a half of me just trying to get one ticket. You and Issa were both trying to get two apiece. Y'all were trying to get your
just two. Yeah,
y'all were trying to get your two. And I was just trying to get one. Hour and a half. I'm clicking refresh. I'm pretty much. I post a tweet because I'm pretty upset in between, but that was still while I was clicking refresh, and I couldn't get through. I underestimated the Elite again. This thing took about, what was it? It was about 2 hours to sell out, right?
About 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really got
Cody
official.
tweeted it about 2 hours.
We didn't get an official time, but the thing is, they sold out Capital One in 2 hours, and the only reason it was 2 hours was because they broke Ticketmaster server. They broke their website.
They literally crashed it. Yeah.
Yes. They crashed it to the point where every time you clicked on it, it said somebody already grabbed a ticket. So what they started doing is they took some tickets off and started releasing sections at a time, so that the computer could keep up with it. Ticketmaster is the largest ticket website in the world, and AEW broke it.
That says a lot.
that says a lot.
That says everything. Yeah, that says everything, honestly.
This is not one of the, third-party sites. This is not anything like this. This is Ticketmaster. WWE uses it for WrestleMania. The biggest events in the world go through Ticketmaster. The demand was
AEW's
so high.
Very first one. Yeah, that's insane. Their first TV, which, granted, that's huge. It's historic, but, it's not even a pay-per-view, and it crashed Ticketmaster.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm sitting there in awe, because, it's like, it goes, to me, it's like, what they've done already has made me, like, in awe, proud of what they did. Today, I was like, they've gotten all the warning shots. Today was like we are here to stay. You know what I mean? They moved in. I
totally agree with that. Yeah, like you said, because I feel like, everything that's happened has been extraordinary. The Sellout, even going back to All In, and then, of course, Double or Nothing, and All Out, the Sellouts. Like, something about those, like, not that it was like, they were huge deals to sell out how they did, but something about this selling out so quickly, like I said, I know you had said you knew they would sell 8 to 10,000. You weren't sure if they'd fill it. I thought they'd sell out, but I thought they would sell it out way closer to the event after more build-up and more matches and just hype and things like that. And they literally, they proved two of the biggest fans right here, even us, wrong today. And no one has more faith in them than we do, and they sold it out in 2 hours, which is just mind-blowing. And I think that does make such a statement because, granted, yeah, it's first TV, and it's a huge deal, but like a lot of the points Floyd made, the fact that it's a Wednesday, the fact that it's not a holiday, people have to work, people are going to be traveling to D.C., and it's sold out. It just shows that, this is legit. like Cody is saying, it's a revolution. You can put all the fancy words around it, but the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And this was genuine proof today that this is not just a fluke. Like this is gonna, they're here to stay. They're in it for the long haul, and this is happening. So it's a very, very proud moment for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I have friends that are in it that are going back to college. They was like, I can't do it because I would have to miss school. I mean, I've heard a lot of reasons over the last few weeks.
Yep.
So what I'm telling you, this is not the same 10,000 people that's going to every event. They are building buzz.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that's.
I saw Cody quoted a tweet from someone who's literally flying in from Brazil for that event, which that's huge. It's TV. It's like the equivalent of somebody coming from another country to go to Raw, which, I mean, but only way better. But still, like, it's insane that it's not even a pay-per-view, and it's drawing it because people want to experience AEW live. That's huge.
Yes. How did you and Issa end up getting tickets? Did she finally just get through, or what happened with her?
No, she did not get through. She had a couple friends trying also, and Issa and I kept getting that error message. I literally took my break at work about 10:45, went to one of the offices with the computer, got on, was in the waiting room, and the minute I tried to start getting them, I kept getting that, sorry, another fan has got the tickets, and I kept trying and trying. Then I just started trying on my phone to have back and forth. And I don't know if it's because I tried just so many times in a row, if they thought maybe I was a bot, but I started getting an error message, and then I was DMing Issa while trying, and she said the same thing. And then her friend, I don't know what she was using, if she was on a computer or a tablet or what, but her friend happened to pull up the 2 lower level tickets, and she just bought them right away because she knew that we were trying, and then she sent them over to Issa. So neither one of us could even score them. It was her friend, who was Karen. Thank you, Karen, so much for helping us, and she was able to get them. So not even Floyd, Issa, or myself were able to actually get our own tickets. We happened to find people who got some, who needed to, who were able to, give them to us, sell them to us, I should say, and it worked out. So, but It was definitely a chaotic time.
Yes, I tapped out. I just gave up. I told Tiffany, I was like, I'll either have to figure it out on StubHub, because I've already bought my flight ticket. I told you, I already bought my plane ticket.
Already.
Yeah, I already had my plane ticket. So I'm like, I'll just have to figure it out, go through StubHub. What happens is, like with All Out, and you're starting to see it right now, is people will buy the tickets really quickly, and then life will happen. And it's unfortunate. I hate that it happens to them, but they have to back out. So I figure, maybe, Washington, D.C. is still on a Wednesday, so that might happen. I pretty much told you that, and she's like, I have a friend with 2 tickets, and I was like, give them to me. I didn't ask where they were. I didn't ask where they were, how much they were. I was like, yep, here. What's the PayPal information?
That's what Issa said too. Obviously, we all wanted that first 3 rows in the chair, but we just wanted to be in the building for this. Like, it's historic, and to be there to watch to say, like, 10, 20 years from now, and always be able to say I was at the very first ever, Wednesday Night Dynamite or whatever they start calling it, and I was there for that first match and that first TV show for AEW, and I was there live. I could be in the very last row of the very upper level, and I would have been grateful to be there. So I'm just so glad it worked out.
And it's one of those things, I think they sell themselves short. They could have literally made all of their floor seats the commemorative chairs, and it would have still sold out.
It would have gone.
They'd be gone.
I totally agree with that. I do think they do, even to this day, because like when Nick Jackson tweeted something about like this shouldn't be happening, but it's happening, and I think even to this day, it's like much as that has happened to prove that this is that people are so all in, to use the the term, with AEW, that that they're even still not so much doubting, but just, I don't know, like you said, underestimating. Like you said, every floor seat could have been a commemorative chair sold for $250 and would have sold out. And I think they would have thought that would have been an absurd thing to do. And now, like you said, hindsight, they're probably like, well, we could have done that. But again, I also know that they're so huge on wanting to make it affordable for the fans, which is also just so great. So.
Oh, yeah, and I hope that they pretty much stick with this pricing model. Don't get me wrong. I love that it's affordable. I love that everybody can afford the $250. And believe me, I'll be standing outside the building when they're on their way out trying to buy the chair from someone. But yes. But that's just, man, like I said, it speaks to the epic nature of this. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, man, I told you they announced a couple other things. I was like, I need you on the call today. And I was like, then this happened. And like I said, I wasn't even planning. I had to change my show notes because I was gonna announce. I was like gonna figure out Meltzer and see figure out Meltzer and see, how many tickets they sold and try to give an estimate. I was just going to try to give that as an update on the show, and I was like, oh, it's sold out. We got to start with that.
About Sellout instead.
Yeah, we got to start with that. That's where you start. It's just like, we can actually just roll this in. Based on what they announced, again, love the Elite, but it had nothing to do with the card. I'm like, they announced the first show. They announced the first match this week, and the first match they gave us. And like I said, I'm wrapping this all up into one conversation because it all goes together. It's Cody and Sammy G, and it was like Cody announced that they were like, oh, the first match is going to include Cody, who's going to be his opponent. You threw out Jericho. I didn't even see you threw out Jericho. A couple hours later, I was like, maybe it'll be Jericho, and I was like, so we had the same guess. Which is awesome, but I was like, I have no idea who it would be. I thought maybe it would be Pentagon or Rey Fenix in a singles match because, it's not something we've seen before. But then they went with Sammy G. And it's kind of weird because, Sammy G, young and up-and-comer, he kind of did this for Darby Allin. And it's just like, I was wondering, okay, what story are they going to tell? But I'm very excited about this match. How excited are you for this one?
I am really excited, and like I tweeted after my prediction of it being Jericho, I've never been more happy to be wrong. Not that I don't want to see Cody versus Jericho down the road, obviously, but the match with Darby Allin was so good that I love the idea of seeing Cody with, an up-and-coming, a young and hungry, as he puts it, opponent. I think if the match with Darby Allin was any indication what we can expect when we see Cody against these guys, and it's so crazy because Cody's not old, but he's like the youngest veteran because he's been in the business so long, and he's just such an old soul that sometimes he comes off like more of a veteran, and he is, but he's also still so young himself. So it's just, I can't wait to see it. I am super excited about it. I think one of the things that I was really impressed by for that to be the first match that's ever going to open the show, the first match they announced for TNT, is that it holds true to what they have been pushing for their company, which is fresh. And the easy route could have been Cody versus Jericho or something like that, but they are putting faith in these guys because this is the vision, and they're actually sticking true to it. And I can't be more proud of that because I think that's what these fans, this core AEW audience, that's what we're here for. We love the Elite, but it's the whole company and just the new, people like Darby Allin, people like Sammy Guevara, and the list goes on and on. So I just think it was just such a big statement to make that it actually held true to their vision of being fresh and new and not just throwing out Cody versus Chris Jericho because it sounded good on paper, because there's going to be people that are going to be like, Cody versus who? I've had people reply to my tweet about it asking that, and I think that's actually a good response because they're still going to be watching, and they're also going to be learning as they see this new guy that they're not, familiar with, and going out there and having this excellent match with Cody to kick off AEW for the first time on TNT. So I just think it's a great statement to make, and I'm super excited. I think it's going to be an excellent match. I have no idea who's going to win because with the whole wins and losses being such a big deal in AEW, it makes to predict a match, it makes it so much harder to predict because I could come up with 20 reasons why Cody would win and then 20 reasons why Guevara would win. So I don't know, but I'm really excited for it.
Yes, definitely. I think I saw Sammy G in the 6-man tag. A lot of people saw Sammy G in the 6-man tag, and he pretty much stole the show in the 6-man tag that he was flying around.
He did, yeah.
We saw him at NWA 70, and he was amazing. We were both at NWA 70,
Yes,
and Sammy G was amazing. So every time I've seen him, he has pretty much knocked it out of the park. He's a great wrestler, and with Cody's style, it's definitely going to be a clash in styles because, of course, Cody is more of the ground-based, old school. Sammy G is pretty much what new school wrestling is. So that's awesome. So I want to go ahead. I want to see how they do.
Yeah,
Cody,
contrast the styles will be great.
Yeah, Cody will have the size advantage, but Sammy G will definitely have the speed and agility advantage. So that will be very good to see. Will be the first show. It's like I always say, I know everybody's not into the star thing all the time. Cody has the first 5-star match in AEW history. Now he'll have the first match on TV in AEW history. It's just, I mean, it's written in it. It's just like he's the big part of it. Everybody's like, oh, this guy, years ago, I wouldn't even call him a mid-carder in the WWE when he left. I'm like a mid-carder. I mean, he would go weeks without being on TV, And
we would grasp for even a backstage segment. I'd just be grasping for anything.
Yes. So his statement, from undesirable to undeniable, it is every day driving that home. Every day, it's like it's gonna stop being a surprise soon. It's like
exactly.
when they do this, it's just gonna stop being surprise. It's just gonna be the way that it is. I'm like, it's funny because they did that. I'm thinking tomorrow or Monday or something, they could announce the next 3 stops and build on this momentum, because there's a whole bunch of people that didn't get tickets that if you announce the next show and say, hey, we're going to do 3 more tickets on sale, I think they would I think those tickets will fly off the shelf because the sense of urgency has been built. I have stated, unless they come close, I'm talking Oklahoma City, Dallas, Kansas City area, that was probably my last show of the year. And it just like, that's what I keep saying. I gotta recalibrate and save some money so we can start this again next year. But so hopefully a lot of other people will get a chance to go. The next match they announced a 6-man tag. It will be the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho and 2 mystery partners, which is, the Bucks and Omega are the original Elite, and Jericho and his 2 mystery partners. And from the tweets Jericho sent out, it is more than likely going to be someone from outside of the WWE. So this is, outside of AEW. Sorry, I was going to say maybe former WWE, and I was like, this has built up the intrigue of who those 2 people can be. You imagine that if you imagine they might be a tag team. They might be anything, so I don't know who it could be. Do you have any ideas? I have a couple guesses. I saw a few online, and I thought they were pretty good guesses. Do you have any guesses?
I was thinking about it today, and the one thing and it's obviously going to be based on whether or not his contract is up, because I've heard like 20 different dates, but I just for some reason had this thought today of what if it was Marty and Flip? Like, how insane would it be if it was who the tag team was that teamed with Jericho, and I think it would just be crazy because it would blow Kenny and the Bucks away to see Marty and then Flip there. So that just popped into my head today. Other than that was the only one that really came to me that wasn't something I just had read and said, oh, maybe, So I don't think it's going to be an existing tag team in AEW. I definitely think it's going to be a new tag team, whether it's a former from another, from WB, or if it's going to be someone, from the independents. But I don't see it being someone like an existing tag team already in AEW. And I know it's it's a real what if, because I don't know when Marty's contract is up with Ring of Honor. I don't know if he plans to leave. I'm not sure, but just provided that if he's able to be out of that contract and be with AEW, then I'm just going to go off the wall and say Marty and Flip, mainly because I would love it, because I want Marty in AEW so bad. So we'll go with that. But what are your predictions? I'm curious.
I heard one, and I thought it was perfect. And not a lot of people are going to be excited about it, but I think Enzo and Cass would be very...
Oh, no. I knew you were going to say that.
I would be very excited with Enzo and Cass. I love them. I mean, I love Cass. I never thought he was the super main eventer that a lot of people, or that the WWE might have thought he was going to be. I knew he was tall, but I always thought he was a good second for Enzo. And I love Enzo on the mic. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody might hate to say this, but I love the guy on the mic. He might not be the nicest person, but not every artist is a great person. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, you can't always go by that.
Yes.
You can dislike a lot of people with talent if you go with that. So.
Yes, but he's very entertaining. He can you put a mic in his hand. He's magic. I don't know if anybody else has said it, but he definitely says he's a Dusty guy. He said that they were going to release him, and basically Dusty said, "Hey, put a mic in his hand, and this dude is worth millions," and it's 100% true. The dude is amazing on the mic. The things he comes off with his head, and I just think the Jericho rub for both of them. That would be great. Big Cass, I think, is perfect for AEW. I think he might have still designs on going back to WWE, but I think he is perfect for AEW because he looks different than anyone in AEW. He's literally going to be 5 or 6 inches taller than the next guy. He's going to be imposing. He could play that. He could play that. If you're using a New Japan reference, he can play that Lance Archer Bad Luck Fale role, just a big dude, and he's good. He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. You know what I mean?
I think that's a great comparison to Archer, and I mean, I know that I've seen the people talking about maybe them going there, and some people were really angry about the idea of them going there, but I mean, I think if it's done right, that there could be a place for them. So I wouldn't 100% be against it. And I'm more than anything, if it happened, I'd just be really curious to see where it would go. And for Cass personally, I think he does have a lot of potential. And I think when he's shared what he's been through and just, his personal stuff, I would love to see him get a chance to just go out there and become a star, because I think he has a lot of potential. And I mean, Enzo, maybe not the best wrestler, but you really do have such a special, as far as the mic goes, there's some people that just have it, and as a mouthpiece more than anything for Cass, and just even as a tag team when they were, he was always more the mouth, and then, you had Cass who had the, the talent and more of the wrestling ability. I mean, I think it could work, and I would be very curious at least to see what would happen if that went down. I mean, and honestly, if you have Jericho as the heel in that match, obviously, and then he brings them out. I mean, what a way to get the fans to boo that team, because you have Jericho who people, even if he's a heel, everybody loves him. And even though you've got him facing off against Kenny and the Bucks, it's still Chris Jericho. So what a better way to get all the heat on them if his team is Enzo and Cass. So it would be very interesting to see that if that happened.
Yeah, I thought about that. That was my first thought. The second thought that I thought would be really cool, and I never saw this anywhere else, just perfect FU to the Bucks and Kenny, the Gorillas of Destiny.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I was just like, that would be the biggest FU to Kenny and the Bucks, is he brings out the Gorillas of Destiny.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I've heard that they've said they're willing to work with anybody, them being in New Japan. I think that would be great, and it would be interesting. And then, of course, Jon Moxley is going to make an appearance. Do you think he's going to wrestle?
I feel like it will not start off as a match, but I think I have no real idea of who it would be, but I think he'll probably come out, maybe cut a promo. Obviously, I think someone is going to interrupt that, and I think whether it's an actual match or just kind of a brawl of some sort, I think he's definitely going to have some action there. So, but I don't know if he'll have an actual match on the first one, because I feel like they would have. I don't know. I think they would have announced it, but at the same time, it could also turn into a match later that night. You never know if someone comes out and interrupts him and maybe attacks him or whatever. But I think he's definitely going to get, and it might even be someone that we haven't seen before. Because like I know Brandy mentioned, there's already has a lot of things announced, but then also possibly some surprises. So that could be another surprise of if someone were to come in and crash his party if he's out there talking, or just someone within the company too. But either way, I would think he'll definitely end up in a brawl of some kind. I don't know if it'll be an actual match, but I can't wait to see, because I'm really curious, since they didn't put him in a match, immediately to announce it. Real curious to see where that goes.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. I also like it all. To me, what happens depends on what happens between him and Kenny. It's like who wins that match.
Yeah. That's a good point too.
Because they're obviously gonna, want to be in the title picture if he wins, or if he loses the big match, he's gonna have something to say when it comes to that. So it's like it's gonna depend on a lot, and I do love that fact. Is like a lot of times with other companies, you can basically see how what they have scheduled next, and you can kind of tell what's gonna happen. In this case, you don't know. You don't know what way they're going to go. All they're going to say, he's going to be there. We don't know what he's going to do there. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see if that happens, what happens with that. And I think the biggest news of the week when it comes to TV, and I'm serious when I say the biggest, not just trying to put it over, is the women's title being crowned on the first show.
Yes. I wasn't expecting that announcement. So I was so excited when you and I both, we were like, oh my God, we have to talk about this. Like, I was not expecting that. I think that's huge. I didn't expect it to be the women's very first ever AEW Women's Champ to be crowned on TV. I thought maybe it would be like the next pay-per-view. I think they're supposed to unveil the championship at All Out. So, I mean, that was huge. That was a big, big announcement that I was not expecting for the first TV on TNT.
Yes, because if you think about it, if you're really, it's a 2-hour show. I mean, what they've announced is a lot for a 2-hour show, and I'm thinking they're going to have a lot more. But they're going to have to. That means we're going to get more news for All Out, because they're going to have to decide how they're going to decide who the champion is, and it's looking like the women's title might be the main event of the first show of AEW.
I agree with you.
Because what other title, what match do you put on after crowning your women's champion?
100% agree. I think that even though you have the 6-man, and we already know Cody and Sammy are going to be opening the show, I don't think they're going to put the 6-man above crowning a brand new champion, the first ever champion. I think that will definitely close the show, and it's a title match, so it should. So that's huge, and I didn't even think of that, but you're 100% right.
Yeah, because you have a lot of people talking about women first, and they having them in main events and revolutions and everything. What establishes more that you're serious about women's wrestling and you're serious about the women's division? The first main event of the first show of your company, as far as TV wise, the main event being a women's match.
It would be a huge statement.
That would 100%. Be a huge statement about how they're back. Because I don't have a lot of criticisms of AEW, but I am critical when I need to be. And the one thing I've kind of said is, it's like we haven't got a big women's match, really, like a big one-on-one single women's match. Like we haven't got a Britt versus Britt hasn't been in a singles match, and and it's like she's the face of the women's division. Now we got B. Priestley, Kuroshita, we got her, Yuka, Awesome Kong. It's just like, we need some one-on-one matches. So we need some matches with some of the big names to really step forward, because right now it's like I was expecting, even though they've had good matches, I don't feel like the emphasis on the women's division has been there, but there's only been 3 shows. So I'm all about, sometimes I get caught up just like anyone else and get a little impatient. So it's like, but with this, it's like, okay, it's like, okay, they're going to announce their presence with authority. You know what I mean? It's just going to be So now it's gotten me more excited about what they're going to announce because they haven't really announced a women's match for All Out. So it's got me really excited about what they're going to do with the women's division and All Out.
I agree, too, with what you said about, I think, I as far as there not being like a high-profile women's match yet, you had Brandy and Allie, which had a really good build, and it introduced kind of the partnership with Awesome Kong and Brandy, so it did its work as far as establishing that. And I think I have loved the women's matches in AEW so far. I feel like right now their purpose has been more to showcase the talent and get fans familiar with who they have, because there's a lot of unknowns that I think a lot of fans are like, I don't know who this is, but now I'm really interested. And I know for me personally, a lot of the Japanese women who are wrestling are just outstanding, and it's my first time seeing them wrestle. So for me personally, like, I'm all for the high-profile matches, but I do appreciate that we've had a lot of they've kind of mixed a lot of women into the matches they've had, and they've been excellent matches. But yeah, I'm ready for a one-on-one match. I hope we get maybe a big one-on-one match at All Out, or something that will decide maybe, the number one contenders. I don't know how they're going to, like you said, we only have one show left before they go to TV, so they can't really do a tournament. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see for All Out what they do to build for that match at the very first October 2nd, show on TNT, because that's a lot of work to do to establish that match, because they really haven't had a top. All the women that have been on have been great, but I don't think there's one person, maybe Britt, but that just might be by default because she was at All In and has kind of been there since the start, and she was the one who's been at the rally in Jacksonville and things like that. So maybe because of that, she was the first signee for a woman wrestler. That might be why she comes to mind, but I don't think there's been one woman that just stands out as like, this is the one, which is also good because it leaves it up to a lot of, a lot of different ways it can go, and it's fun to try to predict who will be that first champion. But yeah, I'm definitely ready to start seeing, now that we have all the fans, I think, way more familiar with the women of AEW, it's time to focus on some more high-profile matches, like you said, and build that to that match on TNT for the first ever show.
Yes, and they've been doing the triple threats and fatal four-ways. Maybe they stick with that. Maybe we get like 2 triple threat matches at all out, and then the winners face each other. I don't know. That's just me speculating.
That could be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do. But I want to see what they do. They how they decided the two people for the men's. The fighting for the men's title, Paige and Jericho, was actually pretty different. So hopefully they use that same way, and then they're doing pretty much a strict tournament for the tag team belts, which is good because it'll give you reasons to watch multiple shows. So I'm guessing we're at least going to get 1 or 2 tag matches on that first TV show. So that first TV show is looking like it's going to be loaded, and I'm very excited to be there. It's weird to say because, I paid to be there, but I am honored to be there. I am like
100. Yeah, definitely.
It is great to be able to show my support for these guys that have entertained me. So it's like it's been very much a give and take relationship, and it's like I follow them because they entertain me. They do pro wrestling the way I want to see it, and I will always be down with that. So I'm hoping this first show knocks it out of the park. I am going to do this on the show, on the site or Twitter. I'm going to put, basically everybody's going to put it out a contest where pretty much people guess the number of viewers that on that first show, closest get something. And I'm just like, anything I guess, I'm gonna feel like it's under. I'm not gonna enter, but anything I guess feels gonna be like, oh, I don't think they can do it, because I'm just like, dude, everything. Today, I'm telling you, today I'm in awe. I might be getting tongue tied because today I was truly in awe of what they did. This is a building that WWE runs quite often, and they can't sell out.
Yeah, and that's huge. And I think, too, another thing with, like, talking about how you said that you're in awe and just kind of tongue-tied over, I feel that because, and I think it speaks such a big volume of how passionate the AEW fans are, because I know, like, for me personally, I know for a fact that probably the minute tickets went on sale, you had Cody, Matt, Nick, Kenny, Brandy, Tony, and who, so many others in AEW kind of just at the edge of their seat, like, oh God, how's this going to go? Is this going to, is it going to flop? Is it going to sell out? Is it going to be successful? Are we going to sell a good amount of tickets, enough to where it seems like it's a success day one, even if it doesn't sell out now? All these things running through their mind were also running through my mind, because I care that much about them and about their success and wanting them to succeed. Like, I'm stressing over it, and I'm just a supporter wanting to buy my own ticket and not able to get in to get it. But that was also part of my stress today, was like, I don't want anyone to be able to say, because we see so many negative comments from people that just refuse to give it a chance, or for whatever reason. It's not because they've done anything to dislike, but some people just for some reason have to reject something if it becomes popular or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, I don't want to give those people any fuel. And then here we go, sellout. So I guess I had nothing to worry about, and neither did they. But I think it just speaks volumes that we care that much, not just for our own success, but just like you said, you're honored to be there. You're honored to support them. And that's how I feel. And I also just think just the fact that I was sitting there worried about them succeeding and doing well just says so much about how passionate the fan base is, and that, the connection that these people, and not just the elite, but it's actually extended into so many of the talent in AEW besides MJF, obviously, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, I mean, it just speaks volumes of how passionate the fans are, because I know I was sitting here thinking, God, I hope they sell it out or do well. So, and I'm sure you're right there with me.
Definitely. Well, I found out today from Twitter, if you will believe Twitter, for the first time in the history of big events, scalpers and bots bought a lot of tickets.
The very first time.
Yes, this doesn't happen on the Super Bowl. This doesn't happen at WrestleMania. This doesn't happen at concerts or comedy shows for the first time, because of AEW. Yep. And AEW is completely responsible for scalpers and bots buying tickets and then charging more for them.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that's never, ever, ever happened before.
Yes. I'm like, if you're reading Twitter, this is like, man, I've never tried to buy a ticket to an event and couldn't get one. Ever.
Yeah. It blew my mind to see those. And I've seen it the last, 3 big shows. It's happened, and I'm just like, people, unfortunately, this is life. Now, I've had concerts sell out, or other sporting events or wrestling, whatever. It happens. Unfortunately, there's going to be people that are just trying to make a dime off of people, and that's going to happen. It has nothing to do with the guys at AEW. They can't control it, and it's just no sense in constantly blowing up their mentions and screen capping the overpriced tickets on StubHub. Like, believe me, it bothers them too, but making them feel bad about it or acting like it's never happened before, it doesn't do any good for anybody. It sucks that it happens, but this unfortunately is just how it is, and I don't see it changing for any time soon, because I don't know, there's only so many outlets to sell tickets, and it happens no matter what. So it is what it is, and it sucks, but like you said, it's not the first time this has happened. So
yeah, I mean, other companies work directly with resellers, where resellers get the tickets first. AEW doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's another huge thing.
Yes, it's like you can, like WrestleMania tickets, a month before they go on sale, you can go on StubHub and buy their exclusive tickets. Then when the WrestleMania tickets go on sale, a good 20 to 30% of the tickets are platinum tickets, which are basically Ticketmaster buying the tickets from WWE and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this huge markup on them." So it's just like, I don't fault WWE. Their purpose is to sell out their arena. I want everybody there. I want everybody, but that's their purpose. It's a business. It's just like, as much as AEW is like, hey, they're friends. We care about our fans. We want to entertain you. All that information, which I love about them, they're still a business.
Yeah, so that's something that I think so many fans need to realize, is that, they can't keep doing favors for people. If you're a fan, support them. Buy the merch, buy the tickets, do what you need to do to support them. It doesn't, you know, it is a business, and it doesn't, them being a business and wanting to make money and wanting to succeed. I mean, the whole point that they succeed and they make money, that's good for us because that's more shows for us to go to, more content to have. It's all win-win. But I think because there's such that personal relationship that they have with their fans, that fans are still a little bit, it's hard for them to realize that they can't just tweet Cody and tell him I couldn't get a ticket and Cody can't just fly you there. Like, that's just not reasonable. And believe me, if Cody would fly everybody there, but Cody needs to feed his family too. And you know, I mean, it's just not realistic to think that, but I think a lot of fans have a hard time accepting that.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's funny. It's the guilt, you know, it's the gift and the curse of them. They are so accessible, so fan friendly. They'll tweet with you, they'll talk to you, they give you the time when you do the meet and greets. You start to think that you are, you know, you start to think that y'all are like best friends. But in the end, they love you. But it's a business. There's a guy, there's two,
money to make.
They got two cons to answer to, you know.
Yeah. And Warner Media. So.
Yeah, so if they just start giving away tickets, you know, it's not really.
The thing is, like, and that's why I said, I go, that with all of them, they would if they could, but it's not realistic, and it's really unfair to even for fans to have those expectations. And I think it's. Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. They have two cons to answer to, and Warner Media is they love you, but it's a company and it's a business, and they know what they're doing, but they also have to run it like a business.
Yeah, it's like, so if 50,000 people want 14,000 tickets, someone's not getting in. There are 36,000 people that aren't going to get tickets. We were fortunate enough.
It's the harsh reality of it.
Yeah, it's the harsh reality of it. But guess what? It's on TNT. TNT is on most basic cable packages, you know, and it's like, you know, if you don't have cable, you got a friend that has cable. Wednesday night, and we need numbers. They need the ratings to be really, really high, you know what I mean? That's what they want. So what you're going to do is you need to go over your friend's house, you know, maybe throw in honor of old school, throw a little party. For I don't know what the show. We don't know what the we'll throw a watch party. We don't know what the TV show is gonna run. Amy O, the other host of this show, she says they're gonna throw a Twitter party, and we're gonna have a hashtag going on there. And she always has amazing content, and they're gonna be having a good time and discussing it. We plan to record a show as quickly as possible after that first night. So it's like, it's going to be other ways that you can enjoy the product. And guess what? It's a weekly show. So you're going to have
That's what I was thinking.
50 more times. Yes. You're going to have 50 more times that you can go see them perform. And guess what? It might be closer to you. Like I said, I have my list of cities that I'm like, okay, if it's in this city, it's in this city. I'm going to be there. Because as long as it's within driving distance or, you know, whatever I can, I will definitely be there. So it's just, you'll have another shot. I mean, I said, I would have been really disappointed if I didn't get to go. Well, excuse me. I was going because I don't care about paying scalper or stub prices. But I was going. But I'm just saying, I understand your disappointment if you can't go, but when something's hot like this, I'm like, try to buy a Bruno Mars ticket. Try to buy a Bruno Mars ticket.
Yeah.
Yes, because I am a big Bruno Mars fan, and I went the first time he was in Oklahoma City. It was after his first album. He was popular, but he wasn't as popular. I went down and I think we were third row for Bruno Mars. And we paid face value, great seats, great show. The next time Bruno Mars came, after his second albums came in, and he's this mega star, right? The same price that I paid, because I still had my receipt online. The same price that I paid for those third row tickets would get me in the 200s.
That says it all.
He got more popular. So his ticket
Yeah,
prices
that's a
went
good
up.
thing.
Yes, that's a great thing. I'm happy for Bruno Mars. But for that night, I was going to stay at home and listen to a CD because I couldn't afford it. I mean, like, I couldn't afford that. And it's just like, but that's what happens when people blow up. And right now, the hottest ticket in professional wrestling, the absolute hottest ticket in professional wrestling is AEW events.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's you get, like, you watch what New Japan's doing, and they're doing great. They had those 3 shows. They had those 3 shows in New York. I think it was Philadelphia and New York, and I forgot what the other city, Lowell, Massachusetts. Those 3 cities, put those combined, AEW sold more today.
Yeah. Yeah, in 2 hours.
In 2 hours, just think about
Wild.
that. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not saying they're better. I'm saying they're hotter, and hopefully the people can tell the difference. They are hotter, hotter right now. It's just a very hot ticket. I mean,
Don't call misquoting Floyd here.
Yeah, they will eventually.
They're both great.
They're both great. They will eventually cool off. You will eventually be able to get AEW tickets a little easier. There's not going to always be 100,000 people waiting in line for tickets. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna always be like that. And if it is like that, that's crazy and that's great. And it's just like, they're going to keep putting out shows, and they're going to keep trying to top the last show, because you got to think about this. If you know, when the demand is high, the pressure for them to keep entertaining that many people stays, it grows with it. You know?
I can't even imagine that pressure. I mean, after, you know, All In was so great, and obviously we waited all the way till May for Double or Nothing, and even that had a huge amount of pressure, and then Double or Nothing was fantastic. The 2 Florida shows were excellent, but they weren't pay-per-views, but they were excellent. But then you have All Out, and that, again, that pressure's on. And then, like you said, that first television show, they've got to bring it. I mean, 100% they are, because they've already brought it with what they've announced, and that's not even everything we're going to see that night. But then that starts the weekly, you know, battle with themselves to keep outdoing themselves, because, you know, and then you just kind of have to, I mean, I feel like they have the right, you know, recipe of people, athletes, creative, you know, to do it. But yeah, I can't even imagine that pressure.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the sellout. We've talked about TV. We're going to move on, but there's one more thing that goes along with this, and the Cody video the night before. The night before tickets went on sale. It was his kind of reply to Vince McMahon. You should have, when you got on the show, it should have been the opening part. And he was talking about blood and guts. And it was a direct response to Vince McMahon. They do a lot of subtle things, but it was the direct response.
This was direct.
Yeah, direct response.
But his comments were 100%. I mean, it was to them. It was about them. It wasn't even subtle. When Vince said what he said, he was asked about AEW. You know, he made a very, to me, like, unnecessary, you know, I don't know. I just think it was in such a kind of a cocky way, I guess. And, you know, so I think, yeah, that was definitely a direct to Vince response from Cody.
Yes, it was at the quarterly meeting. They talked about AEW being blood and guts. And he made the comment twice. He made sure it was said. He even said he didn't know how TNT was going to he wasn't going to speak for TNT, but he didn't know how they were going to let that go. And it was definitely a shot towards AEW. I didn't know if they were going to reply or whatever. And, but it came off confusing to me. Even last week I said this, because WWE, okay, they definitely had, WWF had the wholesome time of the 80s with Hulk Hogan. And that was, you know, considered the cartoon wholesome, even though there was still some raunchy things. I mean, I remember the WrestleMania where Ric Flair and Macho Man were wrestling, and the basic gist of it is that Ric Flair had claimed to have slept with Miss Elizabeth. So,
He definitely crossed the line.
Yes, they crossed the line. And then the attitude era was so bad, they couldn't even see the line. They were so far past the line, they couldn't see it. I mean, I'm like, everybody in my high school was doing crotch chops and throwing up birds all the time.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Same here.
Yes. The whole idea of the show is that anybody that was in the authority was bad. So imagine being a principal or a teacher trying to tell a person that is watching that every week what to do.
Good luck.
Yes,
Good luck.
yes, and then you had the scantily clad women, and you had a lot of you had the pimps, you had a lot of jokes. You had the king on commentary, just put it that way, who made puppies.
Yeah,
made puppies.
Inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate things, for and that's what WWE kind of made its name on. The reason they were able to go public and become $1 billion company is because of gratuitous violence and sex.
Yeah, and I would call that blood and guts, I think.
Exactly.
I would call that blood and guts.
So you built your company on blood and guts, and now you're saying, I hope this company doesn't do blood and guts. And he says, we've surpassed that. We have matured. We are a more sophisticated product. Now.
And I think that's the biggest cop-out, to say it that way.
Let me ask you this, Tiffany. When describing wrestling or a WWE product or whatever, just 100% honest. You didn't even know I was going to ask this question. Does sophisticated ever come to your mind when thinking about wrestling?
No, it does not. Like Cody said, it's violent. It's wrestling. It's fighting. It's. I mean, yeah, we all know that. We all kind of. Yes, the outcomes are predetermined, but these are athletes, and they are very good athletes, and it's fighting. I mean, you watch UFC, you're not looking for sophistication, and these are supposed to be. I mean, like he said, if blood and guts is a bad thing, well, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure no one's saying they need to bleed all over the place every night, but to say it in such a way that Vince did and try to act like he's above that, I mean, like you said, I'm not really seeking out sophisticated wrestling matches personally, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, like Hamilton's in town in Oklahoma City. If I want to go see Hamilton, I'm looking for a sophisticated performance.
That's a sophisticated performance.
Yes,
I'm going to see Hamilton if we want that.
Yes, I'm going to wear my slacks and my button up, and I'm gonna try to be a little bit more not Floyd. But Floyd is shorts. Yeah. Floyd is wrestling shirts and T-shirts and shorts and sneakers. That's who I am. And I am welcome at wrestling events being just like that. I am be as loud as you possibly can. Enjoy it. Boo the heels, cheer for the faces. Be involved. Always cheer Cody no matter what side he's on. Remember, that's a rule.
100%.
Yes, but I'm just saying, it's just like it's very interesting to me. Like I said, I know you don't watch the WWE product anymore. Really, you don't follow it or support it financially. I have no problem with that. That is your choice. You know that. We're still friends. That I am still a very big WWE fan. Yes, sure. that watches every show and plans to be at WrestleMania, and I support both products. I think there's room for everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand it's a war, but you don't really have to pick a side if you don't want to. You can, and I'm fine with it. But
the thing is, like, before AEW was born, I was already kind of checked out on WWE because that's just my own personal thing, with how they did Cody and stuff. So that was just my personal thing. But I still keep up with it, for a bit, and it's just not really there, and it's not a part of my passion anymore, I guess. But I mean, there's a lot of great athletes there, and I have absolutely no want for them to fail, because those are excellent athletes that's their livelihood. And so it's not, it's not that kind of a thing for me. It's just, like you said, it's just not really there for me like it once was, and that's okay, and if it is, that's great too. A lot of people love it, and they should. And I just think that, more pro wrestling is never a bad thing. But going back real quick to Vince's comments, I think that I know that they've tried to act like they're not threatened by it. I know Triple H just dismissed it when he's been asked. I know Stephanie had a fan kind of, TMZ style, kind of asking her questions at an airport, and she did call them competition, and she just said it makes everyone work harder, which I think that was a good way of putting it. And then with Vince saying what he did about the blood and guts, I think it just seems to me like that speaks volumes and kind of shows that, in some sense that Vince is kind of, I don't know if threatened is the right word, but he definitely recognizes that they are competition, that they are legit, because to have that need to dismiss what they're doing and try and act like, oh, been there, done that, he wouldn't need to put it out there that way if he didn't feel even the slightest bit of threatened by him. So I think that just kind of, it's definitely a response from him that said a lot.
Yeah, to me, I've used the term this week, he is highly aware of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And which is funny because he used
That's a good way to put it.
He used to pretend to not be aware of anything. He never acknowledged TNA as competition or anything. He wasn't aware of them. He didn't know who they were. Even when they signed their people, they didn't acknowledge their past. It was just no.
He is highly aware. That's a good way to put it.
He is highly aware of AEW. But Cody put out that very passionate video. I've watched it like 11 times.
I know. It made me cry.
Yes.
It's our guy, and he's speaking from the heart, and I'm just feeling it, and I'm like, oh, Cody, let me go get a tissue.
Yes.
So good.
Because it's kind of crazy that, you have Tony Khan, of course, very much known Shad Khan, and you got Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, all equal parts of the show. But honestly, Cody is the face of AEW, really.
He is 100%. And I know you and I are very biased.
But it's just like when they needed somebody to reply to Vince, it could have been Tony Khan, it could have been Kenny Omega, it could have been the Bucks, it could have been Jericho. It could have been Jericho. It could have been any of these people. But who did they put up to basically directly go back at Vince? They put up Cody, and he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and I actually sent my best friend. I was like, "You have to watch this." Like, she's a big wrestling fan, but kind of just watches every little bit of everything. Doesn't really have a devotion like I do, like to AEW or to Cody. And I'm like, "You have to watch this. It's just so good." And I said the same thing. I go, "God," I'm like, everyone, there's equal parts and this and that. But yeah, Cody is the face, and I would say Cody and Brandy, because you see them both they're like that. I don't know, especially Cody, as far as if you're going to go with the one person, he's that guy. And even if you go, if you look just on Instagram tags, AEW or this or that, and you see a WWE against AEW, and you see Vince, and it's always Cody's picture as the opposing person. It's never anybody else. It's always Cody. Yes,
like I said, he's very much the front-facing person of the company. It's weird to say. To me, it's weird to say. I didn't think of it like that. I knew they were all would be the EVPs, but when they need a response, they need something addressed, they kind of go to Cody. And it's
he just has that ability to speak so eloquently. And I think, whether or not he was ever serious about running for Senate, after wrestling, he's got my vote, and he can definitely talk to a crowd. So I think that, he just has that ability to say what they want to say in such a way that it conveys so much emotion. And I think it's because it's real. There's no BS with Cody. He's going to speak from the heart, and it's so apparent when he does. And that video is just 100% proof of that.
Yeah, so like I said, beginning of the show, you heard a clip. My friend Dave taught me how to get the clip, because I was like, I really want that to start our show, because it was with that happening and then the sellout happening, it was just those two things combined was just crazy. It was just these are, okay, you tried to kind of scare some of our fans away with your comments. You tried to scare TNT away. You tried to scare advertisers away. Boom. We did more than what you thought, and it's just it's only going to.
Clearly went the opposite direction as far as the response went of what they thought they were going to get from that comment.
Yeah, the numbers for All Out, the numbers for that first show it's going to be crazy, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, so we're just going to talk a little bit about what happened this week on BTE. I mean, we did get a lot of highlight videos this week, and it's for on BT and Road 2. One of the funniest things, I know you watched both episodes, so on the BTE, one of the funniest things is wish Nick a happy birthday, and the kids doing Cerro Meadow.
That was great.
I just cracked up because when people asked me who were going to be the breakout stars, they were like, who were going to be the people that some people in wrestling have never heard of that are going to be like the biggest stars in AEW? And I said Pentagon and Ray Phoenix. And I said they wrestle differently than, if you've been watching, you haven't really been watching wrestling, or you've strictly been watching WWE, and which is fine. Believe me, 3 years ago, if you would have asked me who Ray Phoenix and Pentagon were, I wouldn't have been able to pick them out of a lineup, because I didn't watch anything but the WWE. You know, I watched, really, and this will be it. Cody left, I watched WWE and Cody matches. Mm-hmm. If Cody was on the show, I watched it, and that was pretty much the extent of my wrestling. And even from him going to the Indies, I started learning more who people were. But
look at you now.
yeah, but I had no idea who Ray Phoenix and Pentagon were. And, you know, I never really watched Lucha Underground. I think I watched a little bit of the first season. So I really didn't know who these guys were. And it's just like, now I saw them and I've seen them work, and they're amazing. And I even tell my friends that are like, who should I look at? I say Ray Phoenix and Pentagon. And I was like, do you know who the Young Bucks are? I always ask, do you know who Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are? And generally, they know, they're aware. And I was like, first of all, Kenny Omega, probably the best wrestler in the world. I mean, athletically, he's probably the best wrestler in the world. So pay attention to him. The Young Bucks, you know, they're great at tag team. They always put on an entertaining show. Pay attention to them. I always say those three. I say them first. But they was like, who's the guys that I've probably never seen or heard of? I'd say Phoenix and Pentagon. Just because, first of all, the Sierra Meadow thing, fans love to chant stuff.
Yeah, great.
I think you're going to start seeing that at other places because it means zero fear. I remember... Yeah. Do you remember the No Fear T-shirts from when we were in high school? And it's just like it's a statement that everybody can get behind, you know, the zero fear. And then you have Ray Phoenix, who literally does things that I have never seen before.
Yeah, they never cease to blow my mind every time I see them. And I did watch them in Lucha Underground and enjoyed them a lot. But just getting to see more and more of them and seeing them live has been awesome. Just to see them in person, there's nothing like it. They wrestle, like you said, unlike anybody else that I've ever seen. So they're fantastic. And, yeah, they're just so good.
And then you see, on BT, you see this very just... It's one of those things, I will call it friendly, that like intimate moment to pretty much describe how different these two people that happen to be close friends, Matt and Cody, are. Cody's Thai, Matt's Thai. Matt and Nick are not Thai people. You know what I mean? They are very...
Yeah, when they dress up, you know it's something big. Because even at the, you know, Cody shows up in a suit everywhere he goes. They don't show up in a suit unless they absolutely have to.
Yes. So he's tying the tie.
It was so cute.
Yes, and it was taking forever. They're like, "Oh, we're just gonna skip past this part," but it was just that moment. It was just that moment.
I was gonna say, it was such a little thing, but it was just such a fun moment, and I always love those little moments between them because their friendship is just so great to me, and just seeing those, like Matt, Nick, and Cody, those three that started it with All In and stuff, just seeing where they are now, and just those little moments like that are special. And I don't know how many more we're going to get because I don't know what we're going to get as far as BTE once TV starts. So I feel like just in case, I'm kind of like treasuring all those little moments.
Yeah, and it was just like that brotherly love thing. Like what?
It was.
A few weeks ago, they were beating the crap out of each other, and now it's like, oh, now I'm tying your tie, and let's go meet the execs at the TCA. Then you see the little photo shoot, and of course, you can tell they have big plans for Jungle Boy. And it was like...
Oh, man, I'm so excited for him.
When they signed him, I'd never even heard of him. And they were like, oh, that's Luke Perry's son. And I was like, oh, okay, that's why they signed him. He's a name. And it's like, you can tell they really believe in the kid.
Yeah. I'm with you. I've heard of the name, but when they're like, you know, they introduced him and signed him, I was like, who is this? And then I do remember, like, knowing for some reason that Luke Perry's son was a wrestler, but I never put it together. I didn't know who it was. And, now I'm just super excited. I love him with Luchasaurus. And so, yeah, I'm seeing him doing the photo shoot, and they're all just kind of admiring him from afar and the hair flip and stuff. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, and it was like one of those things. I didn't realize how, it was like one of those moments I've seen him, but when he's dressed up and he had the hair, I was like, he's a good-looking dude. I didn't think I was like, I didn't really notice that. It's just like, oh, that's the little guy Jungle Boy over there. It's Cody.
I definitely see his dad in him.
Yeah.
And when I'm not going to lie, when I was little, I loved 90210, and I had a Dylan McKay shirt, like, Luke Perry was my guy, so I'm like, low-key got a soft spot now for Jungle Boy, and I'm like, oh, I just wanted to succeed. But yeah, he is. He's a good-looking kid, whatever. I don't know how old he is, but I know he's probably way younger than me. So either way, I'm 100% rooting for him, and and he is. He's just like, I'm like, wait, yeah, when he's just in a suit and all dolled up, yeah, he's a looker.
He's 22. So it's like, yes. I was like to say, I definitely have nieces and nephews older than him. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, he's very, like I said, I just kind of noticed in that moment. And then they showed some montage. They showed the TNT opening, and it's amazing. And it's just like, I love is that they're treating it like a real sport with characters.
Yeah,
and it's just like that is when I see the presentation of it, and I see TNT really getting behind it, and it's just like, okay, I dig it. This is a real sports, but people that like to dress up in funny things, which is cool. And and it's like I'm really looking forward to Nyla. I always love what she wears. I always love what she wears. The whole gimmick that she has. I dig
the mask and everything. The mask is so cool.
Yeah, she
is just phenomenal.
Yeah, when she comes out, she looks like a killer. You know what I mean? And it's just like that's what you need.
And she's been bringing it in every match. Like I'm just so impressed with her. I was really impressed to see her work so well with the but the smaller sized women. Like the Japanese women are so tiny compared to her.
Oh my god!
And it goes both ways. That they were able to work with her, and the match was just great, and the sizes were so different. And I think that's also a lot. That just, I don't know. It just shows, like, as far as what we talked about with the women's division. Just we have so much diverse talent on the women's division of AEW. It's really exciting. But yeah, seeing Nyla on there, and then when it closes and has the TNT logo of that video, and you see Nyla on one side and Jericho on the other, I can't even imagine how excited Nyla had to be the one to chosen to be on the other side of Jericho at the end of that video.
Yes, and it was just like, when you're at those events and stuff, that means you're an important part of the company. You're going to be one of the characters. You're one of the things that they're facing, and it's just like, I love that they're putting up front, and it's like, I understand that the women's division, it's got to be important, and to me, it's like, it's got to be treated differently than pretty much any other women's division in wrestling, and I'm looking forward to that part. I one thing I do admire about Impact is that Impact Wrestling, I even say right now they have, to me, they use their women's division the best in the world as far as wrestling groups that have a men and women's division. Their women are very much up front. I remember I was watching a show. They had like 3 or 4. They had 3 angles that had to do with women. Like only one was for the title. That doesn't happen in wrestling.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think they've always really put a lot into their women's division. I haven't watched Impact in a long time, but back when I did watch it, they did, and I always appreciated that too.
Yeah, so it is just like they've definitely put it. I went to Slammiversary, and I was there for Tessa versus Sami Callihan in the main event. It's just they really put an emphasis and put their women on the forefront. They're in hardcore matches. They're in cage matches. They're doing things you don't see other women do. Like I said, I don't want AEW to steal that, but I just look at the emphasis that they put on it and how the crowd gets behind it. That when you have women that can perform, which they do, they have a really good women's roster. They have women that perform. People will pay attention. It will just be another wrestling match, which is that's what your ultimate goal is. You just want to think
Definitely.
of them as wrestlers. You know what I mean? And it's just
Right, it doesn't have to be like, oh, here's a women's match, so we have to throw it in there.
Yes, this is the first women's match in AEW history on a Tuesday at 6:57. For
Exactly.
the first, yes,
That's not necessary.
We don't need first time ever. Pretty much everything in AEW is happening for the first time ever. So we don't need that driven home every time that you do something. Just hey, we're about to name our champion, and and the champion is important. Then we get Nick and Matt not being invited into the private party. Atlas Security did their job. And
yeah, I was so excited to see Sam on there.
Yes. He's like, you're not on the list, you're not invited, and it was like, this is a private party. He got to talk a little bit more, which is cool. I laughed.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I laughed. So it looks like it's going to be the Bucks versus Private Party at Hog on August 9th. Yeah. So I think they stream their stuff, right? I've never watched the Hog show.
Do.
Yeah, and
I have not, but I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to make sure that I am watching that show, because I think that's going to be a really good tag match, and that is going to be a really good tag match. Next, we then had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus lifted up Jungle Boy, and Kaz and Chris were like, "You think you're better than us?" And he lifted him up. And, of course, Luchasaurus has a master's degree. Had to remind him of that. And then Kaz and Chris tries to pick up Kaz, and he picks him up the wrong way. And that
was so great.
That's like I tell people, it's like, you don't have to try too hard to be funny. That was genuinely funny, You don't have to be a comedian. I mean, that was funny.
Naturals.
Yeah. And then the ref keeping Chris Daniels from going into the female locker room. I didn't even notice, but you get a cameo from Penelope Ford. I was going through taking my notes. Yes. And it looks like Britt is a few days from getting. Britt Baker had a concussion at the last show. She's a few days from getting released, and she's hoping that she's on the card for All Out. And she's like, you're going to have to wait and see, which I thought she answered that great, because she didn't give anything away. I thought she did a really good job.
It was gave a great update on herself and not giving away much else. So
Yes. And during the week, at least for now, I don't think this is going to happen after TV starts, but if you want to go to Universal Studios and you want to go see the Waterworld show, Chris Daniels is in that show sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't know that. I had no clue. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's something that a lot of wrestling fans knew. I had no clue. I don't really pay attention.
I think they mentioned it very briefly once, but never really in detail. And I think a lot of people were like, wait, what? I didn't know that. So that's pretty wild. Good for him, though.
The thing with me is I remember them mentioning it, and you never know what's serious and what's not serious on BTE.
That too, yeah.
Yes, so I thought it was a joke.
It's legit.
It's like, oh, he's really performing in the show. Yeah, so I was like, oh. And I wondered,
cool.
And it made me wonder, because I went to Universal a few years ago and I saw it or whatever, and I was like, did I see Chris Daniels?
Yeah, maybe it was in that. You didn't even know it.
Yes. And Chris Jericho apparently gets paid a lot of money to answer a BTE question. And, he has his own plane and everything, and he's never spoken to Tony Khan because Tony Khan's not allowed to talk to him. I thought that was all hilarious. And he's like, do you get your someone asked, did he get his contract offer via text now?
Yeah.
This leads to a joke. This would have been a throwaway joke, but apparently CM Punk in I don't know, he's very weird. It doesn't seem like, he seems like a chill dude, but it doesn't take a lot to set him off. Like,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, CM Punk. Like, when I met him in Chicago, he was happy. How you doing? When you start, I told him about, I saw him win the WWE title. It was a very pleasant experience. I had a great time meeting CM Punk. He was awesome. Right? And then I've heard in other times And then every other time that I hear about him, it's like he's either really, really cool or you pissed him off some way and he hates you. So so in this case, he's moved the goalposts again because he said, all they got to do, I've never gotten a serious offer. Well, apparently he's gotten a serious offer. They've offered him money. They told him what they wanted. And apparently they sent it over text, which in 2019, I think that's pretty standard, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem unreasonable to me at all. And I think I remember Cody tweeting something vaguely like a while ago, and I don't know what it was in reference to, but basically just something about being able to do business through text because of how busy they are, and not just him, but people in general, it's such a good asset to have that. So, it blows my mind that that's such a problem for him.
Yeah, because I'm a phone person. I am a talker. Everyone knows that about me. I talk a lot. Yes, so I am a phone person. I grew up, when I was in high school, it's the late 90s, I would, we would call people and spend hours on the phone. I am okay with that, personally.
So
but
that says it all. You're someone who likes the phone. I hate the phone, so
but
I'm not the one to ask. But.
I'm a dinosaur. That's what I'm saying. I'm a dinosaur. I don't talk to anyone on the phone. Like me and you, when we talk, it's generally in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of our time.
Otherwise, we're texting.
Yeah, the Twitter or whatever different apps that we have, and that's how we talk. And it's just like I go months, sometimes years, keeping up with my friends, never talking to them in person. It's like, hey, exactly. I need this, I need that. Transactions, I've signed my lease electronically without seeing anybody in person. I've done all this stuff without seeing people in person. So it's like, it's weird that would be his problem. In 2000, again, I'm not a person that likes when people remind you what year it is, but in 2019, how is this a problem?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. And not to skip ahead, but I don't know if you caught in the latest episode of the Road to All Out that the attorney for the Jags and AEW even referenced that, and I wasn't sure if it was just a genuine comment or if it was a light dig at Punk, because she makes the comment about that the contract signing in person was a little strange because it's 2019 and most things are sent and emailed electronically at this point. And I couldn't help but immediately think, well, this is the lawyer from the Jacksonville Jaguars saying this. And whether it was a slight dig or not, it's a fact. So it just blows my mind that it's such a problem.
Yes, and some people might know I work in IT. We don't even have pens in our office. Like, if you said, Floyd, go get a pen and sign this when I'm sitting at my desk, I wouldn't know where to go. And this was something I thought about after I watched The Road 2. It was like, because everything is done electronic. You have a digital signature. You have all sorts of things that are legal. I'm like, I've gotten complete loans without ever actually seeing a person, so business is done.
This is the world we live in.
So the fact
that it's not going backwards. It's only going to be more and more electronic as we move forward. So.
Yes, and I might end up eating my words on this because wrestling is weird. But it's like, to me, if I was trying to sign a wrestler and there was genuine interest and he told me, why can't we meet face to face, to me, that I would take that as you really don't want to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, and if
I agree.
And if he doesn't want to wrestle anymore, okay. That's up to him.
Fine.
Hey, that's fine. Just say you don't want to wrestle anymore. I have no problem with it. I wish him the best. I was a huge CM Punk fan. Again, was in Chicago. I definitely paid the fee to meet him. Huge CM Punk fan. When he first won his WWE title, it was actually in Oklahoma City, and I was there. I was at the event, and my friends remembered how crazy I reacted when he won the title, and I was like, because I was like such a big fan of his. So this has nothing to do with me. It just seems if you want to wrestle or like, and so. The weirdest take on this whole thing going out on a message and then Cody replying maybe he's going to sign back with WWE, has me at very much a gut feeling that he's going to be in AEW.
I 100% agree. I think the same thing. I think Cody's tweet was a great way to throw fans, but I have a feeling, like you said, my gut feeling, and I might end up being completely wrong, but my gut feeling is that somehow this is kind of a whole thing building, and he is going to show up.
Yeah. I think he's definitely going to be there, and that'll be great. I will mark out like no one's business because like I said, I am a CM Punk fan, but in the end, when it comes to Phil Brooks, I want him to do whatever it is that makes him happy. And if wrestling doesn't make him happy anymore, don't do it. I'm
with you. I'm from Northwest Indiana, which is a Chicago suburb, and before I moved to Kansas City, I went and saw Punk wrestle constantly at IWA Mid-South and Ring of Honor. I would get to meet him all the time, and he kind of knew who I was from going to a lot of the shows, and I absolutely love the guy. So, I didn't stay as passionate and loyal to him. I still always support him and hope for the best for him. But I'd love to see him in AEW. So if we are right, I'm all for it. And I'd love to see him do something where he can end his career on a happy note. So I would love to see that for him. And I think it would be great for AEW, great for the fans, because he's one guy who has left and no one has forgotten about him. They still chant his name, even if I hate when they chant his name, because I don't think it's fair to the people in the ring. But they do it, and it says something about his ability to still have people care about him all these years later. So if it does work out that he goes to AEW, I'm all for it. I'd love to see it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I want him there. I want him there. But if he's not going to be there, it's one of those things. There's the great thing about AEW, all the wrestlers that are there, the refs, everyone want to be there, and they want to entertain. Yeah. So if you don't want to be there, I don't want you there.
Yeah, exactly, because that's going to be a big problem. And it's going to be obvious coming off on, when you're in the ring and things like that, too.
Yeah, yes, and it's just such an important thing, and it's such an important aspect of the company. So, to end the show, we're going to look at All Out Episode 3. All Out episodes aren't very long, so this recap won't be very long. We got
Not long, but God, are they full of so much good content in that 6 minutes.
Dude, yes.
It blows my mind every week.
You have to look past what's in front of you a lot of times, and it's just, that's so cool. We start off with MJF talking about his friendship with Cody and how much he loves him and how he's like his best friend and his mentor. I suggest anyone, if you want to hear MJF in his finest, in his rarest form, make sure you go watch him on the Chris Jericho show. It was called or listen to him on the Chris Jericho show. It was called the 60-minute promo, and MJF, I don't know if this is him, if it's a character or whatever. I've never understood it. I love it. I'm in awe. I'm in awe of it. But him and Jericho pretty much do a kayfabe conversation for 60 minutes.
Wow, pretty much awesome. I need to listen to that.
Yeah, pretty much addresses everything, and he's in character, and it comes off so natural, and he's so good. Even when he says something nice about somebody, there's kind of this disdain in which he says something nice, and I love that about him. And on this, you got that a little bit of him. It's like MJF is one of the few people in the company, especially the young people, put a mic in his hand and say go.
Yeah, he just has that it factor. He is going to be a huge star.
I made this point about a year and a half ago on another podcast I do. I said, you know what? It's kind of almost impossible to be a heel these days. I said, because when you do your job really, really well, people are going to start cheering you. No matter who you are. Like, let's say you're the most despicable person ever. If you're really good in the ring and people are going to start cheering you. That is why even people that hate him and say he's dry toast and just, I always say Baron Corbin's a really good heel because there's nothing redeeming about him. He doesn't do anything that allows you to cheer him. MJF is that same way, but he does it.
That's his job. Like, that's what he's out there to be. So.
But he does it in an entertaining way, though.
MJF he nailed it.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that Baron's kind of missing that MJF has. He's entertaining you. he's very old school heel. But he does it in a new skill way, and he's like, he calls people things that you're not allowed to call people anymore. But you can tell
he still does it.
He still does it, and it's great. He told me, like, I was at StarCast, the original StarCast. It was Sunday, and I tried to shake his hand. He wouldn't even touch my hand. He said, "How about you put money directly in my wallet?" He wouldn't even touch the money after I touched it, and then he took a selfie of it, and I just thought that was. I was like, I will never forget that. And will never forget that moment. I've met tons of wrestlers. Like, I go through my pictures of wrestlers, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I met them. Because it was just like a handshake, thank you for being a fan, and you literally forget that it happens. But that one moment with him, that 1 minute, I will never forget as one of my most memorable interactions with a wrestler. So, he's just very good at what he does, and
he doesn't miss a beat. I think that's something that I really appreciate about him is he just doesn't miss a beat. He thinks of the one time that he responded to me on Twitter. He had posted like a GIF of him doing where he like rolls up his middle finger, and Cody had done that one time, and so I replied, and he tagged Cody, I think I tagged Cody. I replied, I was like, at Cody Rhodes did it better, and put the GIF of Cody rolling up his middle finger, and then MJF replies to me, leaving Cody tagged, and was like, duh, of course he did it better. Then he replies again and takes Cody out of it and put idiot. And I was like, he is phenomenal because he made sure to stick with the fact that Cody would never see him call me an idiot. So not only did he reply to me once, tagging Cody and staying in character and being like, of course Cody did it better, he's the best. He took time to reply again and still call me an idiot, but take Cody out of it. And that was like that moment. And I mean, there's several moments because he's just so good, but where I was like, dude, this guy does not miss a beat. And it just blew my mind in the best of ways.
He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter. I think everyone should follow him. And don't follow him for the stuff he tweets. Follow at the replies that he sends out.
Yes.
He will go find a random fan that says something and just reply, and it just completely tear them down. It's hilarious.
But just proceed with caution if you tweet about him or to him, though, because nobody's off limits.
Nobody's off limits, and you don't know when he'll see it. He might not see it until the next day.
And he might blow your mind when you wake up the next day and have a response from him. So
I just want to know when Pro Wrestling Tees are getting these Pharaoh ties online, because I need a Pharaoh tie.
So we had one at the Pharaoh signing last year at StarCast, and now NJF has one, so they need to put one of those on the website. People would buy them. Everybody loves Pharaoh. Dude,
I would have rocked this. I would have rocked the Pharaoh tie at my wedding. I would have definitely rocked the Pharaoh tie.
That would have been amazing.
Because Pharaoh, it was just funny because I like how he did it. It's like subtle, just pull up. He's like, I'm a little warm, and he opened up the jacket. It's a Pharaoh tie.
Flawless. Oh my
God! It was like there was no pause, no anything. It was just. Yeah, it was.
And I should have saw it coming, and I didn't, because even I was like, oh, but like kind of just like that was a little weird. And then I'm like, oh, it's the Pharaoh tie, and I should have known, but he's just that good.
Then we get Cody running and working out with Pharaoh on the leash, and I just rocking his Penn State shirt. And some people might not know this, but Cody actually had a scholarship to wrestle at Penn State, so he has a affinity or affection for Penn State. Then you see him running up the stairs, the Lassiter Trojans. You said something about Lassiter. Is that where he went to high school?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, see?
So that was really cool to see him there, not, just some random, and then to make sure when they show that wide shot and you see Lassiter Trojans, and I just kind of was like, my heart, that he was working out there, it just made my whole day. I thought that was super special, and it just shows Cody, like, just how he always, every detail is there, and to have him be there, and, either if you know, if you don't, and then it's no big deal either way, but for, just to see it, and for the people that picked up on it, it was special, and I just think, like, I love that about Cody, because it's that, where he came from, and he so holds that so, close to his heart, so, I thought that was a really cool shot.
And I hope people have noticed, maybe, I mean, it might just be obvious, but I don't know if you took away the Rocky 3, definite montage of this. So you got you got the Rocky, which is Cody. He's doing the work. He's lifting. He's running. He's doing the fists. He's working the bags, the handbags, doing punches, lifting, and all that kind of stuff. Then you have Sean Spears, who has his manager, which of course Clubber Lane had the manager. Clubber Lane had his manager at 3. He also has the Clubber Lane haircut.
Yes,
he has the Mr. T haircut.
Yeah, that is so true. I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
Yes, he's like everything in here is like Rocky 3, and of course in Rocky 3, Rocky takes the L from Clubber Lane. He just beats the crap out of him, and then Rocky has to refocus and get it, and it's just like, okay, he hits him with the chair. It's just a whole lot of different parallels between the movie, and it's crazy because the one thing you can tell about the Elite Universe, they love the Rocky movie series.
Yes, which I love because I absolutely love it. I think of Scorpio Sky immediately.
Yes, Scorpio Sky and Cass, they came dressed out as Rocky, and they're like, yes, we're doing Rocky 4, not doing. It's like, yes, but yeah, this is basically Rocky 3 with a lot of them, and it's like, so, and then they did this. Then they had the scene where, again, so subtle. You got Sean Spear looking like $1 million. Now, this guy, his look to me has never been his problem. He definitely, because he is in perfect shape. He's in shape. He's a very attractive guy. He's big, so you have to kind of look at him. Of course, in the WWE world, he did not look that big because that's the land of giants, but he's a actually good-sized human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
When we did Smoke and Mirrors, and he was he was there, and it was just like, because, he's good 2 inches taller than me, and of course he's in amazing shape. And I was like, I still hadn't realized how big he is.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have them in the conference room, and they're all pissed. They're waiting on Cody, and Cody's like ignoring their calls and stuff. And you have the lady there. I thought she kind of stole the scene. Of course, she was like, "We don't sign contracts like this," and it was very honest.
I had to mention it before we were talking about that, but yeah, I thought that was really, really a good. It was cool to see someone there like that.
Yes,
She's
not an actress or anything. It's 100%. It's like if somebody's like, "Yeah, I need you to come in and sign this." I'm like, "What?" I seriously would be like, "Why?" I mean, I have a computer. Send me to your secure site, and I'll knock it out.
Kidding.
No, but then I love the subtleness. I love, like I said, Cody. I imagine, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Cody has a lot of control over his storylines. And, he's definitely one of the bookers for singles matches. He has made this match with Sean Spears so big. Now, I will tell you.
Yeah.
When I heard, Sean Spears was going to be there, and I was like, I hope they don't do a Sean Spears-Cody Rhodes match, because Sean Spears is beneath Cody Rhodes. That was what I thought. And it's just
really? Wow.
That's what I thought. And the whole idea of the good hand. And I was like, yeah, I think they could do somebody bigger than Sean Spears. That's what I was. That was my bigger thought. I was like, maybe somebody debuting. Maybe he gets Moxley. This was before the Moxley match was announced, because I was just thinking out loud, and I was just like, maybe somebody bigger. They have done such a good job of elevating Sean Spears.
Yeah, I mean, in a matter of weeks.
Yes.
I mean, something WWE could never do.
Yes, to making him a true threat to Cody Rhodes, to making the match something I really, really want to see, and I have no idea who's going to win. And it's very good for me. They added an extra layer to the storyline where Tully Blanchard, being the genius that he is, says, hey, just one line item I want to change here. Yeah, he can bring his entourage to 5-6 people, but only one person can stay. Now, I've heard this going 2 different ways. What's your thoughts on this?
I've been trying to think. I've heard a lot of people that have different opinions, and based on how Brandy tweeted, it almost sounded like she thought it was a given that it was going to be her. I don't know. My initial thought was that it was going to be MJF, because not only did he open the show and he's been involved in the storyline, talking about Sean Spears, how much he hates him. Obviously, we know there's two sides to MJF, and that, the side Cody sees is not the side everybody else sees. So I could almost see Cody, because of not wanting to put Brandy at harm's way after what happened with the chair shot, to say, I'm going to have MJF out there. Obviously, she's not going to like that, but I don't know. That's where my gut instinct was. It's going to be MJF, and it could potentially set up, that turn with MJF and Cody. If MJF turns on Cody, maybe at All Out. But I don't know. It almost feels like, with already knowing Cody's first opponent at TV is going to be Sammy Guevara, that, where would we go with that? But that doesn't mean something can't develop on even during that match or on the show or whatever. But my gut instinct for All Out was that as soon as I heard that stipulation, I'm like, he's going to choose MJF. And that's when MJF's going to turn on Cody. So that was my initial gut reaction. So I'm going to stick with it. How about you?
So when they first announced Tully, I was like, okay, so Cody's going to have Arn. That was my first thought.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people think Arn, yeah.
That was my first thought. Cody's going to have Arn. Then I watched this video, and I was leaning more towards the MJF thing. Personally, I would like MJF to be in his corner, and I would like MJF not to turn on him.
I agree with that. I don't want the turn to happen yet, but
and
maybe that even furthers it. It might further it more, because everyone's going to expect it. It would almost be too obvious. Yeah.
I want more of a slow burn. I want MJF to do everything to the point where it looks like he's going to turn and he never turns. And then, a year from now, where you've kindly maybe they're not going to do it. Maybe MJF's going to be that. That's when he turns.
And it almost makes me think how well they played up the entire storyline with Adam Page and Joey Ryan. Their way they can do the continuity and plan a long-term storyline is so good. And I feel like with you, I think does MJF turn it all out if that's who Cody picks to be in his corner? I hope not. I'm with you on that. I don't want it to happen yet, because I think it's premature. And that slow burn, and then when that moment, as you said, it gets to the point where everyone's going to start to think maybe it's not happening, and then you get them, and it's just going to be, oh man, that moment, because it's inevitable. But when is the question? That's going to be a moment right there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you there. I'm looking forward to that. I just think when it happens, make it happen. I think and the thing is, you have all these speculations. Of course, some of us are going to be right. Some of us are going to be wrong. But it's good to have this conversation. This is what I miss. The idea of not knowing what's going to happen next and having something to talk about. Yeah, having discourse. That is the sign that you're putting together a really good storyline. Sean Spears is all amped up and angry, and Tully's with him, and Cody just comes in, signs the paper. I've done this before, and then walks out. Doesn't even know what he just signed. That is
just sight unseen, just signed it and walked away.
Because that's such a baller move, because every wrestling contract's the same. So he didn't know that Tully just made this change, which is cool. Yeah, Michael Kalari in the background, and then I don't know. I saw a couple screenshots of the board. More Blood and Guts was one of the screenshots. Yes, I thought that was hilarious. It's make Mookie dress code, or Harrington dress code, which is Chris Harrington. He's called Mookie Ghana on Twitter. Actually, he used to host a podcast that I watched called WrestleNomics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I it was kind of funny when he signed with them. That was a big deal. Then Pentagon and Ray Phoenix's contracts, because technically they are signed with MLW. I don't know how that's going to work. And then they had, I forgot the guy's name, but there was another guy listed, and he's the head of finance for AEW. So
okay.
Yeah. I just Googled it real quick, his name, and it said he's the head of finance in AEW. So then you get, and that's how it ends. Cody rolls out. Havoc TNT standard and practices. Chad Glenn is the guy's name. Now that I see the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna nothing on the board doesn't go unanswered, and then you get the official announcement, and you got Cody versus Spears. And, got the look, Cody in the suit, Spears is all wrestled out. It's just like, he looks like he could beat up Cody Rhodes, and it's kind of crazy because it went from, that was a crazy transformation, or a crazy job that they do, and it's just like, it's those moments, these are the moments where you're like, again, I'm learning more and more every day, just don't question it. Just go with it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
They know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing too. Is just they do know what they're doing and go with it. So and for someone like, with the whole Cody and Spears match, it's a really big deal. For me as someone who like has followed Cody for so long and like seen them team up in OVW, and Spears turned on Cody in OVW, so it's almost like full circle. That all these years later, I've always said, Cody's had a lot of partners, and that every time Cody had a partner, people would always say, oh, well, the partner is the guy that's going to be the big star, and it was always Cody who surpassed them. And, once again, here's Cody and then Spears, and now Spears has that beef. Like, he gets hired by AEW, Cody calls him a good hand, and, the storyline just, it goes back so far, but yet, and they're just doing it so well, and having, just the fact that they're having, Spears, when he did his one-on-one with JR, that, the stuff that he talked about. And then I have to wonder, like, is it possible at StarCast on Thursday, since it's before All Out, when Cody does his From Undesirable to Undeniable event, will there be any mention last minute about Spears when he discusses OVW leading into that match? Because as we know, at the press conference, that's a big thing leading into for Double or Nothing, and you had Dustin reveal that Dusty's favorite shirt. So Cody has this huge event at StarCast on night one, discussing his entire career starting from OVW, which is where, as far back as he goes with Spears, who he's wrestling at All Out. So you've got to think there might be some referencing there and just some last minute build there, and I'll be really curious to see what happens at that.
The one name I haven't heard as far as in his corner is Dustin.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't either.
Seemed like it wouldn't kind of make the most sense, since they are all.
Yet nobody's thrown that out there.
No one's thrown that out there. Dustin has not been a name, and it's just like, oh yeah, that would be a good name. But yeah, the Arn name is my favorite because if everyone knows, Arn Anderson's one of my favorite all-time wrestlers. The MJF thing would add the most intrigue to the storyline. Dustin makes sense. I think it won't be Brandy. That's the one thing I
100% don't think it'll be Brandy.
Yeah, 100% I don't think it'll be Brandy. And I think that's going to cause, Brandy to be a little pissed. And I love to see how...
especially because she seems pretty confident that it's going to be her.
Yeah, because it's always her. It's always her. And it's like, it's like I said, it's like when I think of Cody's theme, I said this last week, when I think of Cody's theme, I don't think of it as Cody's theme. I think of it as Cody coming out and Brandy coming out with it. I know she has her own theme, but it's such a, to me, wrestling almost iconic type of vision that Brandy comes out first and then Cody comes out behind her. That's how
she has her arms up and then here comes Cody.
Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to be. So it's like the fact that I won't get that would be like weird. That would be like
for sure.
Yes, and so that was and I got to see Brandy spear a dude, and it's just like that's what she does.
Hell yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. I was like to say, as far as one of those people, one of those characters that I didn't even know who she was in the WWE. I knew she was Eden. I heard that she was married to Cody, which was great. I mean, as far as the WWE, she didn't have a personality. She was the ring announcer person, and it's like she's come out after, and you've gotten to know her personality, and she's feisty, and she's a bit more of a heel. You know what I mean? When she's like, hey, it's like she's like face in real life, heel in the streets, yo. And I was like, yeah,
100%.
I was like, she'll win. So I love that about her, and I love her ruthlessness. So I like her in Cody's corner. I'm like, if he said, hey, it's gonna be Brandy, I would have no problem with it. But I just think for storyline,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think storyline they're gonna add more to it. Did anything happen? I think we covered everything that happened this week in a somewhat of
I think there's a lot, but I think we got it all.
Yes, it's like every week. I think and it's funny because every week I'm putting together the show and I'm like, I don't know how much I'm gonna cover, and it's like boom, 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 and just a whole bunch of big things happen. It's like, well, the big story was gonna be the women's match title being done at the first TV show taping. Then it was like, oh, the big story is all the other matches they announced. Oh, then they just sell out a building. So
yeah. They just keep giving us content.
Yeah, they keep giving us content. They make it the easiest, one of the easiest shows to talk about all, and I hope everyone's enjoying. Thank you, Tiffany, for coming on with me. I know you have a busy schedule, and it's kind of hard to get you locked down for a time, so it's really cool.
It is. I'm so glad it worked out.
Yeah, so
I always love being on. So.
Yeah, so I'm glad it worked out. Definitely make sure you are on Twitter following Tiffany. What's your Twitter handle?
All Elite Tiffany.
All Elite Tiffany. How easy is that? Make sure you're following All Elite Tiffany on Twitter. She also has been writing for the website that hosts this podcast, Social Suplex. Make sure you check out our articles on the socialsuplex.com. She also posts links to them on her Twitter. And then, of course, I forgot about your videos. YouTube, Heart of the Elite with Tiffany. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a video talking about this pretty soon, right?
Yes, we are. Probably tomorrow.
Yes, we're going to definitely get that.
Be on the lookout.
So, yeah, the link to her YouTube page and her Twitter account is always in our stuff, because I always tell her, I was like, you might not be on every week, but you're very much ATE. You're very much part of the team. A lot of the information I get, especially running the Twitter, I get from Tiffany, just because she's there. She's usually on top of it. If the AEW or Cody or anybody tweets out something, she's usually retweeting it pretty much right after it's happening. And she's way more aware than I can be, because I sleep during the day. So, yeah.
Well, our balancing schedule works out.
Yes, our balancing schedule definitely works out that way. So I thank you again. You got anything else, Tiffany?
I think we covered it all. It's been a big week, and I'm just excited that it worked out, that we were able to talk about it today. So much going on. It's exciting.
All right. Well, I thank you again for being on. For Tiffany, this is Floyd reminding you, whether it's home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.